Okay, guys, today, inshallah, we'll start with lesson 7, page 245, absolute value and distances. Absolute value and distances. And distance. Page 245, guys. Prepare your box, please. Page 245, lesson 7. Again, guys, today, inshallah, we'll take lesson 7, absolute value and distance, page 245. Prepare your box. Okay. Now, in the previous lessons, guys, we took the absolute value. We said absolute value means these two lines, right? If you remember the shortcut or the symbol of the absolute value, the two lines, and the absolute value always gives non-negative numbers, no negative here, okay? After the equal, no negative. So for example, absolute value of -3 is +3, and absolute value of 5 positive is still 5 positive, and absolute value of 0 is 0. So the absolute value always gives non-negative, okay? Absolute value of negative is positive. Absolute value of positive is still positive. Absolute value of 0 is 0 because 0 is neither positive or negative. So absolute value, these two lines like this, long lines around the number, we call it absolute value. Absolute value always give positive value or 0 at 0 only. Now the distance between distance, today we will calculate or evaluate the distance between 2 points in the coordinate plane. Now we took the coordinate plane. We took the coordinate plane like this. Okay. Now, for example, if we have a point here and a point here, I'll call this A and I'll call this B. Okay. Now, A and B has coordinates x, y, x, y. Today, we will find the distance between these two coordinates, okay? But But the distance for today, guys, it will be straight line distances. Like for example, if A is here, if B is here, and A is here on the same line, we'll find the distance between these 2 points. Okay. So again, absolute value, we took it before. Absolute value of negative positive, of positive still positive, of 0 0. And the distance, today we will use the absolute value to find the distance between any 2 points, but on the same line, either horizontal or vertical. Now, for example, guys, if we have these two, these 2 points, for example, A, 4 and 3, B, 6 and 3. A, 4 and 3, B, 6 and 3. Now, how we'll find the distance? I'll let this negative. So if we have 2 points here, A, -4 and 3, B, 6 and 3, how we'll find the distance between them using the absolute value? And this is very important, guys. Please, pay attention here so you understand it. I'll do this example and I'll do another example for A, -4, let's say +5 and 7, and B, 11 and 7. Now look here, guys. Now we have 2 points here in the first example. These examples are not in your box, so pay attention, please. Pay attention. Now, how we'll find the distance between these 2 points up and down, guys? The question is to find the distance between the 2 points, to find the distance between these 2 points here. Now, look here, guys. Here we have -4 and 3, and also 6 and 3. So we have similar number, 3 and 3. First step, guys, we ignore the similar number. We ignore the similar number. The 3 here, we ignore it. Assume that the 3 is gone. Okay? So we have two numbers here, -4 and 6. First step, we find the absolute value of -4 and the absolute value of 6. Okay? So what's the absolute value of -4? It is +4. The absolute value of 6 is still 6. Both gives positive, right? This is the first step. Second step, guys, we take a look here and here. This is negative and this is positive. This is negative and this is positive. So they are different in signs. Not both negatives or both positives. One of them negative and the other is positive. So they are different in signs. At this case, the distance D, we will call it D. D means what? Distance. D means distance. So at this case, distance will be, what's the bigger number here? 6. Now we have different signs, we said. If we have different signs between the original numbers, we add the two absolute values. 6 plus 4 is 10. So what's the distance between the 2 points? Is 10 units. 10 units. Now this is the first example, guys. Look here and be careful. Now here we have A, -4 and 3. B, 6 and 3. We have similar numbers, 3 and 3. Ignore them. Assume they are not equal. Now, first step, we take the absolute value of the -4, absolute value of 6. Done? Done. After we find the absolute values, we take a look to the sign here and sign here. The two signs are different. If the two signs are different, we add the answers of the absolute value. So what's the distance between these 2 points? Is 10. Second example here, we'll do the same thing. Now look here, A plus 5, 7, B, 11 and 7. Now we have 7 and 7, ignore it. Ignore them. Now what's the absolute value of 5, or +5, is 5. Absolute value of 11 is 11. Now, we take a look to the signs. Here, it's positive, and here also, it is positive. Here, it is positive, and here, it's positive. So we have similar signs. In the previous example, it was negative and positive. They are different signs. Different signs, we add the answers of the absolute value. But if we have similar signs, we will subtract the absolute values answer. So here, D, which is the distance, equal, what's the bigger number? 11, subtracted by 5. This is equal 6. 6 what? 6 units. So look here, guys, we have two examples. I will repeat them so you can know the whole idea of this lesson. Remove your hand, Yabni. Remove your hand. Remove your hand. Here, guys, we have two examples. Understand them very well. You will understand the whole idea. Now, if we have 2 points and we need to find the distance between these 2 points, where? In the coordinate plane here. Now, look at A. A is -4 and 3. B is 6 and 3. We have 3 and 3. Ignore them. Then we find the absolute value of the different numbers. Absolute value of -4 is 4. Absolute value of 6 is 6. After we find the absolute value, we take a look to the signs of the different numbers. Similar numbers, ignore them. You work on the different numbers only. Here it's negative and here it's positive. If we have different signs, we add the absolute values. We add the absolute values, okay? If we have similar signs like this, positive and positive, positive and positive, after we find the absolute values of the different numbers, we subtract the absolute values. So when we add, if we have different signs in the different numbers, when we subtract if we have similar signs in the different numbers. Okay, so for example, another example to understand more, let's take another example. Let's take another example. For example, if we have these 2 points, A, let's say -1 and -7. B, let's say -1 and -12. Okay, we have these 2 points, and what we want to find the distance between these 2 points. Okay, now let's see here, where are the similar numbers? We have -1 and -1, -1 and -1. Ignore them. Work on -7 and -12. Ignore -1 and -1. Okay, so the similar numbers, we ignore them, guys. So the negatives, -1 and -1, similar numbers, ignore them. Like here, we ignored the 3 and the 3. We work -4 and 6. Here we ignored 7 with 7. We worked on +5 and +11. Here also we'll ignore -1 and -1. We will work in -7 and -12. Now we'll find the absolute value of the different numbers here. What's the absolute value of -7? Is 7. What's the absolute value of -12? Is a 12. Now we take a look to the different numbers here, -7 and -12. This is negative and this is negative. They are in the same sign. Here we have the sign is negative and here the sign is negative. If we have similar signs, guys, if we have similar signs, we subtract the absolute values. We subtract the absolute values. If we have different signs, look here, here negative and here positive, we add the answers of the absolute values. Here 7 is negative, 12 is negative. They have the same sign, same sign. We subtract the absolute values. So D equal, what's the bigger? 12. 12 minus 7, which is 5 units. Another example. Another example. For example, if we have A, 2 and -9, B, 2 and 10. We will find the distance between these 2 points. Now here we have 2 and 2. Ignore them. Ignore them. Work on -9 and 10. Similar numbers, ignore them. Work in -9 and 10. Now, find the absolute value, the first step to find what? The absolute value, always, of the different numbers. So the absolute value of -9, you write it like this, 2 lines and -9 between them. Not like this. Not like this, 1 minus 91, no. Make the lines here and here longer than the number. So it will be bigger than the number. The number, make it small inside. Yeah, absolute value of -9 is +9. Absolute value of 10 is 10. Okay, now we take a look to the sign of the different numbers. Here we have negative and here we have positive. If we have different signs, we add the answers of the absolute value. If we have similar signs, we subtract the answers of the absolute value. Look here. Here we have different signs. This is negative and this is positive. We add the answers of the absolute value. Here we have similar signs. This is positive and positive. We subtract. Here we have similar signs, negative and negative. We subtract. Here we have different signs, negative and positive. We add that answers of the absolute value. So D equal 9 plus 10. 9 plus 10, which is 19 units. 19 units. So the distance between these 2 points is 19 units. This is the idea, guys. This is the idea, how we find the distance of 2 points on the same horizontal or vertical line. This is the idea. Now, if you have any question, put your hand, please. If you have any question, put your hand, please. Yanal.
Mister, if we have the same numbers like 2 and 2, but one of them is negative 2.
2 and 2, one is negative.
One of them is negative, yes.
لا, they won't be similar, ya mister. 2 is similar to negative 2.
No.
Is 2 similar to negative 2?
No.
So they are not similar. In the 2 points, we need to know,
Okay,
we need 2 similar numbers like 7, 7. Here we have 3, 3. Here we have negative 1, negative 1. See it? Here we have 2, 2. Got it? Similar numbers, same numbers,
yes.
equal numbers. Not one is negative, one is positive. No, we cannot do that. Done?
Done.
Next. Thank you.
Done.
Rahim.
Mr. This lesson we will take for it 2 days because I want to ask you a question from the quiz. The first quarter.
Quiz what?
Sorry, the second quarter. I want to ask you because you made a quiz for us. Yes, I want to ask you a question
quiz,
from a listener.
Habibi. It is not a quiz. Okay, it is exam. Okay.
Exam, sorry.
Second, dear mister.
Okay.
Each lesson, I said, if you have any questions, put your hand, right?
Yes.
So tomorrow or the next period, I'll finish this lesson. If I have time, I'll reply your questions. Don't collect all of your questions and you want me to answer them in one period. This is very difficult for me. I cannot do that.
Okay, thank you.
Because you need to study each lesson, and in the next period, you can ask me your questions. Did you ask me before and I said for you, no, I don't want to answer you now?
No.
See? So try to ask me in the next period. If I have time, I promise I will answer you. Did you understand the lesson of today?
Thank you.
Good.
Yes.
Next. Iyad.
Mr. Now, if the numbers was like positive 5 and 8, and B will be 11 and 6.
No similar numbers. No similar
Yes.
numbers. If we have no similar numbers, guys, this case, it's not included now. Okay, you will take it later on when you grow up, inshallah. In this lesson only, you will deal with 2 points with one similar numbers, like 7, 7. Okay, 3, 3. Got it? At this lesson. But later on, when you grow up, you will take another formula. If we don't have any similar numbers, you will use that formula, which you will take it inshallah later on.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. So I answered Yanal, I answered Ibrahim, and I answered Iyad. I'm assuming that you don't have questions because I don't see any hands here. Good. Let's go to the lesson now. Let's go to the book. Let's go to the book. Let's go to the book. Now, before going to the book, guys, look at the board, please. Look at the board, please. Look at the board please. وركز عشان ما ضل أعيد. Now in your book, the graphs something like this. In your book, the graph is like this, guys. Look. You have squares, right? You have squares like this. Look here, guys, and focus. Look and focus. Now, if the point A is here A, and here B, okay? This will use it in your book because I cannot make my whole graphs like this. It's difficult, but your book, it's ready. Now, if A here and B here, and we want to find the distance between them, what we will do, guys, we will count the squares. We will count the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, without calculating, okay? Without calculating, we will count the squares between the 2 points if the given is coordinate plane. But if the given 2 points like this without a graph, no, we will use this way to find the distance. If the given is coordinate plane like this one, and they want the distance between A and B, we will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For example, if A is here and B is here, how we find the distance if we have a grid? We call it a grid. We count the squares between the 2 points. 1, 2, 3. So the distance is a 3. So it's easy to find the distances on horizontal or vertical lines if they have, or if you have coordinate plane like this. But again, if we have only the 2 points without a graph, we need to find it using this way. So let's go to the book together now to see what we have here. Just give me a second, guys. Give me a second, please. Yeah. Let's go to the lesson now, guys. Let's go to the lesson. We are on page 245. 246, example 1. See example 1? Yeah. Let's read together, guys. Let's read together. Rakan, read it, Rakan.
Find the horizontal distance between the 2 points. To
Find the horizontal distance between the 2 points, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look here, guys, all of you. الكل يركز معي هون. I'm sorry about this camera here. I don't know what's the problem. Like this. I think now it's clear, right, Rakan?
Yeah.
Good. Now look here, guys. We have U and V. See U and V. Now, if we count 1, 2, 3, right? But the distances here, it is not whole units. Look, each square is a half, guys. Here half, then 1, then 1 and 1.5. So we won't count 1, 2, 3. We will count halves. Here we have 1 half, 2 half, 3 halves. If 3 halves, how many? If we have half and a half, it is 1. 1 and a half, it's 1 and a half. Why I don't count 1 by 1, guys? Because if you look here to the numbers up, we have half, then what? Then 1. Means this square, it's not 1, it is a half. If from 1 and 1.5, it is a half. So here we don't count 1 by 1, we count halves. We count halves. So here half and a half, 1. 1, and a half, it's 1.5, right? So if you go down, the distance between U and V is 1.5 units. 1.5 units. Now, if you go to the check, guys, read your account, the check.
Find the horizontal distance between the 2 points.
Look here, guys, at the graph in front of us. Look at the graph in front of us. Look here, guys. Here we have P and Q. If you go here, we don't have halves. We have whole numbers, -4, -5, -3, right? So we count by ones. Let's count. 1, 2, 3. So the distance between P and Q is 3 units. But here, if you take a look to the numbers up, guys, we have a half, then 1.5, then 1, right? So here we count by halves. But here I count by ones because I don't have halves. I have whole numbers. I don't have fractions. So here 1, 2, and 3. So here what is the distance between the 2 points P and Q? The distance is 3 units. So if we have grids like this, guys, we count only, we count squares. But before we count, we take a look up. If we have halves or 1/2, we count by halves. But if we have whole numbers, here, look here, guys. Here we have -2, -3, no divisions here. We count by 1. We have 3 squares between P and Q. 1, 2, 3. So the distance is 3 units. So right, the distance here is 3 units. This is the check. Now here 3 units. Let's go to the check, guys. Sorry, to example 2 together. Example 2. Look here. Here we will count by halves also. We will count by half. Why we will count by half, guys? Because look at the numbers up. We have 0, then 0.5. So this is not a whole number, right? Not a whole number. So we'll count here. This is the half of the 0.5. Who can tell me the half of the 0.5 is how much? It is a quarter. It is a quarter. Now, if you have a problem, guys, if you have a problem, again, if you have a problem in counting, if we have different numbers here, we have another way. Who can tell me, guys, what is the coordinate of E? Who can tell me what is the coordinate of E and what is the coordinate of F? Coordinate means X and Y. What is the coordinates? Omar Koshak.
F is 0.25.
Only the coordinates, Mr. means F, X, and Y, brackets. Remember?
Yes.
What's F? X. What's X for F? And what's X? Y for F?
Negative 0.25.
See? F, write it, guys. 0.25, comma, negative 0.25. But what's E, guys? E. You, Omar,
Negative
what's E?
0.75.
And
Negative
0.25. This is E.
Negative 0.25.
Good. So we have the coordinates of E and the coordinates of F, right?
Yes.
Look, let's write the coordinates on the board, guys. Let's write the coordinates on the board. خليك معي يا عمر. Now we have 2 points, P and F, right?
Yes.
يلا, what's the coordinate of P? بسرعة يا عمر.
Mister, it's E.
Sorry, E. يلا, what's the coordinate of E? بسرعة.
Negative 0.75.
أيوة. And
0.25.
تأكد. Negative 0.25.
لا sorry, it's negative.
Yeah.
Negative.
طب what is the coordinate of F now? بسرعة يا ابني.
0.25.
And
Negative 0.25.
right? From where we get these units or these points, guys? From the grid, from this. We know that. We know how to find the coordinates of each point. Now we will go where, guys? To our idea here. We will go to our idea. Do we have similar numbers, ya Omar? Do we have
Yes.
similar numbers? Where are they?
Yes. Negative
Negative
0.25.
0.25 and negative 0.25, ignore them. After that, we find the absolute value of each different number here, right? Let's find the
Yes.
absolute value. Negative 0.75, absolute value is positive 0.75.
0.75.
And absolute value of 0.25, this 0.25 is still positive. Now we look, guys, to the different numbers here. Here is negative and here is positive. And we said in our previous examples, if we have different signs, we add the answers of the absolute value. Here we have different signs. This is negative and this is positive. So we will add the absolute values. So the distance will be 0.75 plus 0.25.
Equals 1.
How much 0.75 plus 0.25? If you add them, guys, how we add? Remember, we put decimal under decimal, huh?
Yes. Yes.
Add 5 plus 5, 10, 0, 1.
10.
1 plus 7, 8
10.
plus 2, 10. Decimal comes down. 1 plus 0, 1 unit. 1 unit. If you go to the book, guys, if you go to the book, look here down. Omar, are you with me?
Yes. Yes.
Omar, read.
So point U and V are 1 unit apart.
1 unit. As we did here, it is what? 1
One.
unit. So if the question gave you the 2 points, you just find it as our way. If the question gave you a grid, you can put the points, put the coordinates, and find it in another way. This is all for today, guys. If you have questions about this idea, try to see this video again after I download it. And if you didn't understand it yet, tomorrow we'll do more. You can ask me, inshallah, or in the next period. Thank you so much and have a good time.